is it like for a Filipina to come to America from her perspective and her point of view? Hi, I'm Roy.
I'm Christine.
I'm Ish.
And welcome to our channel, Married to a Filipina. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, YouTubers around the world. Today's video, like my thumbnail had said, is what is it like for a Filipina come to America from her perspective of things? I think a lot is said around the world when you bring your foreign wife to America. Most of the time what's said is that, they want to come here for a green card. And then you can add in age gap relationship, of course, and that even makes things worse. And that starts the talk of the town, so to speak. And I heard plenty of that when I was dating Christine. And man, I spent many hours, more than I'd like to reveal on camera, on soul searching as to what all this entails. What does all this mean? I'm getting all this negativity from outside sources, but yet my heart is telling me to do something else. Being with my Filipina at first, I was very much on guard. You're looking for cues as to, are they really sincere? Is this something that's not normal? Because I had never been in this situation before, like many of you. And I finally had to trust my heart and trust my soul on this one. And because the negativity that I had gotten from outside sources was starting to affect our relationship, and definitely in a negative form. So I had to start thinking about what it must be like for a Filipina to fall in love with a foreigner and move to their land. Now, to start out this, explaining this, first of all, my wife didn't want to come here originally. We had never discussed coming to America. So does that make her a Filipina gold digger in her community or something? Let's get really serious here. I know many Filipino and American couples. They're all happy. They're all doing well. A lot of them are long term. So it was like, okay, I'm going to look at this logically and realistically, and maybe it'll make sense to you, maybe not. It did for me, so that's why I'm making this video. First off, I thought, wait a minute. If my wife hadn't met me, she was a foreign overseas worker, so she was supporting her and her son. I'm not going to tell you that it was the greatest life in the world, but if that's the only life that you know, do you think it's bad? I mean, honestly, I wasn't born with a silver spoon, so I've never driven a Maserati and lived in a 42 bedroom mansion and had servants wait on me night and day. And I really wouldn't want that, but I'm not missing anything by putting on my own underwear. You know what I'm saying? So how do you know if you're actually missing something if you're living the life that you're living? My wife was supporting herself. It's not like she needed me. And I think a lot of that stuff, there's so many people that have this bad image. They want to think they're like this knight in shining armor and they're saving them. And because they're saving them, they're due respect. They're due everything that they require. And man, that's just not the way it is. It's not the way it is. I'm going to tell you right now, if you get involved in a Filipina and you think that you're owed something because you saved them from the Philippines or their life, your relationship is going to fail. I'll tell you that right now. I didn't save my wife. My wife had a life. Excuse me. It's not the life that I wanted to live, or maybe you, but it was her life. She has a wonderful family, a wonderful supporting mother. I mean, what more could you want? She was actually purchasing a piece of land for her family to build a home on. She helped with her brother and his schooling needs. Our son was in a private school getting a good education, so I wasn't saving anyone. So the first thing you have to get past is that you're not saving anyone. You met a Filipina and you fell in love. That's what you did. And now you're going to try to start a life together. And that's exactly what we did. And when I started thinking about them things, it's like, wait a minute, her life is tough, tougher than I'd want to live my life. I drove truck for many years. I know what it's like to be gone from home. Not nearly as long as she was gone from home, but I know what it's like to be gone and alone. And you do it, of course, for your family. And and you get up every day and you put your big boy pants on and you go to work. And then I started thinking, the most precious gift in my wife's life was her son. And she was willing to put her trust in me with the greatest value that she's had in her entire life. And when I started thinking about that in that perspective, it's like, you know, the risk involved of coming to America, marrying a foreigner, and creating a family is an equal and arduous task that both of us took on. It was never one-sided. So when I hear the negativity, I just want to squash it. It's like, are there some bad instances? Sure there are. But I'll tell you what, we probably got neighbors around here that got bad instances too. And you can go online and read anything. It's like if you're a little sick and you get on Google. Well, by the time you get off Google, you got 14 days left to live because you're dying of lung cancer. Don't go on Google and ask medical questions. It's no different than you don't go on there and ask relationship questions. You gotta figure that out yourself, and you got to come to terms with that. And and I did come to terms with that. And when I came to terms with that, I put my trust 100% into our relationship. And every single day, when I leave for work, I text my wife, "Honey, I love you. I'll be home as soon as I can." She texts me back with, "Honey, I'll be right here waiting for you." And we send little hearts. Um, Maybe to some people that may sound childish. That's part of our relationship. I love it. We work at it every single day. And that's what it takes in any relationship. I don't care if your wife is a foreigner or was your old next door neighbor. If you put an effort into your relationship, everything seems to come together. And from her perspective, giving up everything she's ever known. Now you got to really seriously think about that. You know, it's actually easier for us men to bring our Filipina to the United States than it is for us to go to the Philippines. You've got the differences in the food, the traffic, the brownouts, the waiting, the impatience, and we're Americans, so we're quite impatient. And and you come here, and everything is different, everything. And you think about that. On our little road here, I don't know, we get a few cars. We don't get any scooters with no mufflers on. There are no tricycles or jeepneys passing our home. Um, Little to no public transportation anywhere. In fact, my wife, I've been teaching her how to drive because, of course, here, if you don't know how to drive, you're pretty well stuck somewhere. And that's another challenge in itself. My wife is 40 years old and she never even drove a riding lawnmower. In fact, last summer when I let her drive the riding lawnmower out front, she hit a tree with it. So it's been a pretty tough task. So when you think of them things in that perspective of how much of a change and how many things did my wife lose coming here that she truly loved? She hasn't seen her friends in almost 3 years. She hasn't seen her family in almost 3 years. Um, and she hasn't been to the mall in Cebu City. I'm sure that's about killing her. So there's so many things that she hasn't seen, and of course through YouTube, we can see the sights of the city, um, to take away some of that emptiness. But when I hear the scuttlebutt of all they want to do is come here to get a green card, it literally infuriates me. I just get so mad. I got to calm myself down, or I calm down, Um, Last weekend we were at a Filipina party. There's a Filipino pastor that was leaving the church, and so they threw him a nice party. And of course, we went there, and there was far more food than there should be, like all Filipino parties anywhere in the world. And I was there amongst 15 or 20 different couples. And so, thinking about making this video, I started asking some questions. And there's a gentleman that I met, Jim, very nice man. He'd been married to his Filipina for many years. And I started asking little bits and pieces of questions, not to be too forward. And they have a great relationship, and it's everything that they ever dreamt it to be. And a couple other gentlemen also. In fact, I'm hoping in the future I may be able to get a few of these guys on the channel, because I want to have a perspective from America's side, not from the other side of the pond. That day may come, and for us, hopefully in 5 years. But anyone that wants to bring their Filipina to the United States has to understand some of that. And like I had stated in my very first video, that I knew that my wife needed a connection with other Filipinas, and I was fortunate enough that I knew a few, so it just integrated well, and since then our world has grown so much better. In fact, at Christmas, we were at a Christmas party with, gosh, I don't know how many, dozens of Filipinas and their husbands, and it was wonderful. And that gives my wife a chance for her to talk about what she misses and use her native language and discuss the foods. Man, I get all of that, because I don't eat a cheeseburger in the United States hardly ever, but when I'm in the Philippines a while, I get a craving for a cheeseburger. I don't know why, but I do. It happens every time I go there. And I long for home too. So for me to put myself in her shoes, could I have literally sold everything that I had here, pack up a suitcase, and move there because I loved her, and give up everything that I have here? That's a real serious question. That's a really serious question. And you got to give your Filipina, you got to give her some kudos for that. That takes true courage. So when these people, they're inept. They hear the scuttlebutt and just repeat it like so many other things in this world. It's like, that's so far from the truth. It's just hard for them to comprehend that this Filipina actually fell in love with you and is willing to move halfway around the world to share what remaining life we have left, and share it with me. I think, man, I think that you should celebrate that and say, wow, I got truly lucky. And a lot of you are truly lucky also, It's happened to you, or you're on the fence, and maybe you'll go forward, and, So discount all that stuff that family or friends will say. Just throw that all out the window, Do your due diligence, of course, and take your time, and develop your relationship, and go visit her several times if you can. And, we spent more hours on Skype than I'd like to tell you we did. Gosh, we were like two madly in love fools, literally 6 or 8 hours a day. And that's no exaggeration. And she's over there behind the camera. She could verify that. With that being said, it's not going to be a long video today. I just wanted to get this, out there. And if any of you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me. I mean, I'll do my best to answer your questions if I can. I'll never lead anyone astray, that's for sure. And if you like our videos, please like and subscribe, because we plan on making many more. In fact, in our next upcoming video, I'm finally going to get Christine on this side of the camera, because now she's my camera person and my editor. And she's been pretty amazing, I think, because she had never edited anything in her life, and she's starting to get really good at it, and I'm impressed, and I hope all of you are too. So I want to get her on this side of the camera and have her sit down. You've heard a lot about me and a lot about us. Maybe it's time you heard a little bit from Christine. And next, in a couple of weeks, we'll be heading over to the Philippines, and we're going to do our first travel vlog. So bear with us. We've never done one before, but we're going to try. And hopefully it's exciting and it's everything that you expect it to be. And with that being said, have a wonderful day and hope to see you soon.